Hello everyone and welcome to The Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris, reporting to you from Manila, in the beautiful Philippines, standing in front of Manila's wonderful, splendid cathedral. We're here for a week at the request of pro-life Catholics, working with their bishops who are concerned, deeply concerned about a move by national lawmakers to legalize contraception throughout the country. Faithful Catholics and their bishops here know what will follow in the wake of legalized contraception. All they have to do is look at the United States and Europe to get a glimpse of what their own future would look like. Abortion, broken families, fatherless children, single mothers, a society in shambles. But unlike the US and Europe, there's actually something worse in this proposed new law compared to the situation in the West. In addition to breaking down the family and killing children, this new law would jail and imprison anyone who openly protests or speaks up about it. Yeah, you heard right. Part of the provisions for this law state that anyone who talks against the law or organizes protests against it or writes articles criticizing it or any such behavior can be arrested, fined, and or imprisoned. It shouldn't come as any big surprise that Planned Parenthood, along with all the other pro-abortion crowd, is behind this legislation, pumping millions of dollars into this Catholic country to get it to flip. Some of the most prominent bishops in the country have announced that if it becomes law, they will be the first to pack up for jail. No comments on what would happen in the US or Europe if a similar situation was taking place there. This is what happens when liberal tyrants run the show. Planned Parenthood has learned its lessons well. Not only does it kill children for a living, but now it wants to kill all protest or speech about its murderous activity. It has learned that getting a government to hand it hundreds of millions of dollars every year, like in the United States, isn't good enough. It must also choke off all objection. How is this any different than an evil dictator taking your money, killing your young, and throwing you in prison if you protest? Imagine Catholic Filipinos going to jail in their own country for standing up to protest the slaughter of their own citizens. This is monstrous. This past weekend, the Philippines celebrated the 25th anniversary of the overthrow of the Marcos regime. Ferdinand Marcos was the dictator of the Philippines for many years, and together, he and his wife Imelda, famous for her vast shoe collection and Marie Antoinette approach to the suffering of her poor subjects, were peacefully overthrown. Not a single shot was fired. Now another dictatorship is trying to impose itself on this Catholic people, but this one is much more subtle, sneaking its way into power rather than seizing it by force. But once installed, it will be more vicious than Marcos could have ever been. It will not only try to control their bodies, it will try to control their minds. Such is truth with all progressive modernist liberals of the world, in governments, in church, in society. They do everything they can to control people, and when people fight back, they try to crush them by passing laws or rules or regulations that silence and choke off opposition to them. In Canada, they're pursuing the legal route to silence opposition. In America, the liberal crowd has pursued the societal route of politically correct speech. And when they can get legislation passed to help them silence opposition, they have done that as well. Having learned valuable lessons from the Western world, they come to the Philippines with a master plan already in hand, a blueprint which paves the way for a 1-2 knockout blow. Get the government to both legislate in favor of contraception to pave the way for abortion and imprison anyone who objects. It's actually a brilliant strategy. Imprison the folks who object before they can warn the rest of their countrymen. And if a few bishops and faithful Catholics sit out the rest of their days behind bars, oh well, that's the price of progress, right? Like Stalin said, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. What's happening in the Philippines should be a warning to all those who oppose Planned Parenthood and the legislative killing crowd. Politicians who are in favor of abortion will do anything to silence you if you oppose them. The fact that they haven't done so yet is merely an accident of circumstances. In the Philippines, they are trying to fix the problem before it becomes one. In places like the United States and Canada, they're attacking from the other side with things like not allowing conscience protections for healthcare workers who object to abortion, or passing laws against pharmacists who refuse to dispense contraceptives. It's all the same battle, no matter how you approach it. The pro-death crowd are liberal tyrants who are money-hungry, bloodthirsty killers who will brook no opposition. Of course, none of that should surprise you. They go to work every day and murder children. Do you really think their consciences would bother them for imprisoning those who object? We'll have more from you all this week as we report from the Philippines. God bless you. I'm Michael Voris.
Please help us keep delivering these kinds of messages that so desperately need to be heard and acted on. Join RealCatholicTV.com today as a premium subscriber. Become immersed in the faith established by Jesus Christ. The Catholic Church is the only hope against evil because that is its God-given mission. As our Lord said, apart from me, you can do nothing. Join RealCatholicTV.com today as a premium subscriber and come to learn and love Christ more deeply.